Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. We are streaming the tournament which is played by students. This is a Sunday tournament played in two categories. So if you are watching, do let me know in the username in the chat. I will definitely watch that game. Let's just inform all the viewers that we have started. So we'll be looking at the above 1000 games, but if there are any students from the below 1000 level who want to watch their games, I'll definitely analyze those games as well. So let's look at some of the action taking place in the about 1000 group. So we have uh, Harshita playing against Abhinav. This is the first game that I'm looking at and looks like a winning position for Harshita. Now she has an extra exchange and she's going to win this game from here. She can play moves like, yeah, bishop c4. She's setting up e7 tactic now. So black should play king f8. Yes. b3 and then she will play rook d1 most likely. Or b4 is also possible. So this looks good for white over here. Let's see some other games. Maybe we can check. We can check the game played by Sanay against Dhyan. We can take a look at this game. So Dhyan is white and he's pawn up. So things are looking good for him. So he decides to go into a rook endgame. I was trying to not allow the rook endgame because in a rook endgame there might not be that many winning chances. Yeah, f3 is possible. Black has to play pawn to e3. And now this should be draw with the correct play because it's very hard for white to get to this pawn. Maybe he needs to play like g3, f4 and get the king to f3. That's one of the plan to pick up the pawn on e3. Yeah, here I was black can activate his rook at some point also. So now king d3 is possible. If king d5 then he can take the pawn and now white should be winning because he has two extra pawns in this position. So this looks good for Dhyan. Let's watch some other game. Harshita blundered her rook, it looks like somewhere, and now she is not winning this game anymore. Let's see what happened. She had a good position. Oh, and I think she did a mouse slip over here. Rook a1 would have been good, just picking up the a7 pawn, and then white would have won the game. But instead, she played b5, and now bishop takes d1, and now Abhinav is going to win this one. So this looks good for Abhinav. If anyone is watching in the chat, you can put your username in the chat and we can discuss the games that are played by the students. So we already have results in couple of games. Let's see maybe Dhyan's technique. Let's see how he's going to win this game. He was 2 pawns up last time we saw. Yeah, he will create an outside passed pawn now and then that will distract the black king and then that's the right way to play at least. Let's see if he does that. You can win this position in many different ways, but that's the typical way. Yeah, he does it now. And now white will have a connected passed pawn. No, he should have gone king e3. Black can. The thing is, black cannot activate his king so easily. So even if white, I mean, there is very little chance that white will go wrong in this one. Almost any move wins because of this protected passed pawn. But the correct technique was to go to e3 and then to start going towards these pawns, or create a passed pawn on both sides of the board, and one of them will promote. So yeah, but as I said, any move will win because black is unable to get his king in time as the white pawn will promote fast. So any move wins here. Let's watch some other game. Maybe we can watch the game of. Okay, these are the only two games that are going on actually. Let's look at this opposite color bishop endgame. Opposite color bishop endgames are generally drawish in nature. So let's see if white can win this. Black can win this. See, he has an extra pawn. But I don't think it's easy to win this position because the thing is white also has a passed pawn. So very difficult to win this position for black. Now you can even take the pawn on g7. Black has to be careful now. But there is no danger actually because the bishops will not get exchanged in this position and then it's just a draw. Both sides cannot win this, so it's just a draw. Because nobody will drive the king on e7 away and nobody will also... Only black can try bringing his king at some point to this side by putting the bishop on d6. That's the only attempt, but then white has counterplay with his king, so that's the only possible plan in the position, is to get the king towards the a pawn. Okay, Dhyan is going to win this one. He simply has an extra queen. Let's maybe go to below 1000 also, check a little bit over there what's happening in the below 1000 group. So we already have two results. We have Advik winning a game against... he's playing with Abhinav right now. He already won against... Oh, it didn't happen. Okay. Maybe let's watch a game of Advik and Abhinav. Let's see what's happening there. So Abhinav using a typical trick to double the pawns now. And then he will put his bishop on h3 and will try to go for an attack. That's a standard plan. And actually it's even more dangerous when... oh, he takes with the bishop. Okay. With the black king not castle, that's even dangerous because... Okay, I was not expecting queen c8. He wants to go queen h3 and knight f3. That's his plan. So white needs to act quickly in this position. I doubt that's a good move because now the g file also opens up. This is, I think, game over. Yeah, queen h3 and now knight f3 is coming. If you take the rook, then knight f3 will cost you the queen. So the thing is, in this position, maybe he had to play the move c3, I guess, to attack his knight so that queen h3 is not possible. Or you need to hide your king quickly. That was the way to go. Because this looks just over its mate. Yeah. Okay, maybe some other game. Let's go back to the above 1000. Let's see what's happening there. So the new round has started. Maybe we can watch the game of... Let's see the leaders here. Dhyan's game against Advay. We can watch that. So Advay played the Sicilian and he has a fine position. He will play pawn to a6 next. Okay, Dhyan wants to play bishop f4, but you have to be careful here because if a6, this is a typical trap. Don't play bishop f4 because e5 will just lose a piece. So this is a trap white has to be careful with. He should not play a6 bishop f4 because e5 will be a problem. Just bring the knight back. That's the safest move. I think this is so easy to like fall for. It's... yeah. he blunders that. Bishop f4, e5, and now black is up a piece. It's a very common trick to keep in mind. Okay, let's see the other game. Oh, he doesn't find it. He plays d6 instead. Okay. He should have played e5. e5 was just winning. Let's watch Willow versus Genu. What's happening there? So Willow played with white this setup. Now h3 is the main move in this position, not e takes d5, because the point is you get the pair of bishop in this variation. So he exchanged, and now we are in an exchange variation of the Caro-Kann. And this looks good for white because white got this knight e5 jump now. So he's attacking the pawn on the knight on c6. So this looks good for Willow. He has that extra tempo, so black has to play rook c8. And now maybe you can just play castle, or even bishop g5 is possible. Castle seems fine, and then just try to put your rook on e1. I don't think that's a good move. Maybe bishop f4 was a good move, preparing this and then bishop a6. With the bishop on f4, the rook would have been trapped. So he could have played bishop f4 first to set up that trap. That was a better move. Okay, this is going to be an even fight. I don't think white has any big advantage now. So let's go on to the next game. Let's see Abhinav versus Bhumit. So Abhinav plays the move c3 over here. This is not the move we play in such positions. We normally play the move d3 and then c3. You can play c3 if black plays bishop c5. Then c3 is the main line. But against knight f6, you shouldn't play c3. You should play d3 first. So he blunders a pawn, and now Bhumit just has a perfect center. He can just play pawn to d5 next, and black has no problems actually. Black is just pawn up for now, and okay, now not anymore. But black still has a very solid position, but now white is getting somewhere. f7 is hanging now. I don't think he should have allowed that. Bishop f7 intermezzo is possible now. So Abhinav will have an advantage. The evaluations are changing quickly. Now, no, he missed it. Knight e4 is a very shaky move. I mean, you're still blundering bishop f7. You're allowing rook e1. The position needed some defense first. Cannot do that. Okay, let's maybe watch the game of Harshita against Sanay. So Sanay with white plays the, well, it has no name basically. It's some d4 system. And Harshita is very solid in such positions. I know she will just develop the pieces, and she has a pair of bishop. So bishop a6, b3. Yeah, it's a bit like a London system. I think black is doing completely fine in this position. Now wait, isn't c3 winning material? I would think so, it should win. Let's calculate. Okay, she doesn't play it. I think c3 followed by bishop b4 I thought was a move. I think she could have played c3 here, forcing the bishop to take, and then she could have played bishop b4. That was one option. She instead went for bishop b4 and allowed bishop f6 now. So this is not clear anymore, because Sanay will have some knight h5 jumps later, and still should be okay for black. Black's bishops are great. But I think she missed a moment here with c3 instead. Okay, she's trading everything. She's hoping that her pawn on c file will provide her enough play. Let's see if she is proven right. As white, I would be relieved in this position because I think I was in bigger danger earlier. Now it looks like the position is simplified. So the c pawn at the moment doesn't. Okay, now maybe rook d2. And then g5 also can happen at some point, like attacking the pawn on f2. So g5, what are we doing after g5? Maybe 90. No, no, not 92. G5 just looks like winning material on the spot. I doubt if she will play it because that does weaken your king side, but G5 does look like a good one. Bishop C4, he will play Queen B7 now, that's my guess. Just threatening the rook, active move. Okay, let's see. Harshita has an advantage, I think, but White can hold if he plays correctly. The question is whether Harshita's C pawn will win or not. That's the only question. Let's look at the game of Atharva next. He's played the Spanish and he quickly exchanged his light square bishop. And he does have a very good center control against Arna. So I like White's position in this one. Okay, let's see. We already have a result in the game of Abhinav. Yeah, that Bhumit had blundered a piece over there, so that was not good. Bhumit had a very good position at one point, but he just collapsed. Like at one point, let's say somewhere in the game, when he played this move G4, this is where things started going wrong. Actually, in this position itself, instead of knight f6 after bishop g5 at 6, there was no need to play g5. Okay, even if you play g5, you just had to protect the pawn on e5 over here. That was a better move. Because once he allowed this, then suddenly his king is now completely exposed. And of course, this bishop takes b1 was a blunder. Pawn on f7 needs to be defended. So castling is possible. It's very scary, but that I think he had to do. Okay, back to the games. We already have one more result. I think Gino winning the game against Willow. Let's see what happened there. So the Karokan's solidity again was proven in this game. It looks like Willow didn't get any advantage. So Black played knight e4, a bit strange. He just gave up a pawn. He's not really getting a pawn on b2 in this case, because then there is rook b1. So Willow could have just, okay, the bishop was hanging. Okay, that was the point. So he had to play queen c4. Black played bishop d6. Maybe there is this move queen g3 here, attacking the rook. That's one option. He could have thought of that one, but okay, he went for queen c4. Let's see what the computer says quickly. Yeah, queen g3 looks like an interesting move. Uh, Queen c4, bishop d6, rook e1, queen takes b2. Okay, so white played rook b1 and Gino sacrificed the queen for two rooks. Well, there is absolutely... Oh yeah, he had to do that. Okay, then he's right. Okay, then the rook b1 was just a blunder. I didn't see the bishop was there. So then, yeah, then he just blundered actually. Queen c6 is a very safe move for Willow. So sometimes, you go for a trick very quickly, but queen c6 is like completely winning. He's just blundered a piece basically. So Willow from a winning position went into a losing position. So queen c6 just wins the bishop pretty safely, and then he would have won the game. Rook b1 on the other hand, well, you can still do queen c6 and then take the bishop and then take the queen, but this was just a blunder. And then, yeah, so maybe it was played too fast at this point. Queen c6 would have won the game. We have one more result, two more results actually. So Shadragh's game we didn't see at all. Okay, opponent didn't make a move. Advai won against Dhyan. Let's see what happened. Yeah, Advai had actually a good position. We saw it earlier that he could have even won a piece. Like there was this trap Dhyan had blundered into. Bishop f4 was a mistake because of e5. Was not spotted. Instead d6 happened, but black still has a very good position here. Yeah, knight d5. He took it. But that's just a piece blunder. I mean, the only way to justify this knight d5 is if you capture with the pawn. That's the only way to counter the... I mean, the balance the piece. If you are taking with the bishop, that just is free piece then. And then black just has an extra piece. Dhyan tried some tricks, but knight e5 is a move. Pawn takes f4, g6, I guess. Okay, he played knight g6, f5. Knight e5. Maybe f4. Yeah, now g6. Yeah, this knight jumped g6, e5 a couple of times, but he did the job finally. Queen c7. I think black was always winning in this position. Like, there was no problem at all at any moment. Okay. He should have played g6 at first chance itself, yeah, to not allow all these tempo gaining moves. As the computer is also saying, there was no need of knight g6. Yeah, but black still had everything under control and he... Wait, knight d7, queen f7, and now bishop e6. Okay, this was not uh, forced, right? Knight d7. So I think Jan did get somewhere in this game, but he missed some defenses. What does the computer say over here? Yeah, takes, knight d3 check is fine. Because the pawn on f7 is now defended actually, so you can free up your knight from the task of defending this pawn. Bishop e6. Still, I don't see any threat for white because this is covered, so he's trying to do this and then this. And now queen f6 check. Queen e7. Wow, this was a very interesting game actually. It looks like white should be fine now, but... Oh, he started going up, and yeah, that's where the danger is, and then then his king was also very weak. Okay, Sicilian games, they always are like this. I think here, after queen h4 check, queen h4 was a good find. If that's really a good move or not, I have to calculate it, but maybe you should have played knight e2 here. That would have been a good move. So when you are in such kind of a situation, if I flip the board with white, you need to make sure how can the checks run out. Because if the king is wandering, it's not a good sign. So knight e2 I think was a very solid move, and white looks like he has a winning position. Because after knight e2 there are no checks, and queen f8 is a threat, and if king e7 then he can take the pawn on h7 or... Uh, yeah, basically white's attack is going to work after that. So you need to find the stability, and Dhyan was wondering with his king, and there is no stability when you keep moving with your king. And thus he got an attack, black got an easy attack and he won. So knight e2 was better there, stopping all the checks. Okay, 3 games. Already we are at the third round. Okay, the second round finished already. So what happened in the game of Arna won against... Oh, he blundered, I think, a back rank mate. Let's see what happened in that game actually. He could have won it. Sanay won. That's a strange result. Harshita was better in that game. A lot of turnarounds, so the side that is having an advantage is not carrying it through, basically. That's... So Harshita had an excellent position. At one point we saw that she had a c pawn. Yeah, I think it was here. She could have played c3. Yeah, that was the trick I pointed out. c3 was winning. The point is bishop takes c3, then you play bishop b4. And then you win the bishop on c3. So, and later on also I think she had a trick when this happened. She could have played g5. g5 was winning, but instead she went for a queen trade. And she must have lost her c pawn. Yeah, now suddenly the game is anybody's game. It looks like Sanay found some trap. Still looks holdable for black, of course, but it still looks good for black. Ah, she did a mouse slip. Okay. A lot of mouse slips on Harshita's side. That's why maybe she didn't win that game. I think everyone is playing this too fast. How did the third round already we had results in 2 games? It's a rapid game, everyone. You need to play slowly. Let's see what's happening in the below 1000 ones. Okay, so Aditi is leading the tournament with 3 points. Let's go back to about housing. Let's see how these games finished so quickly. Let's see this one, this one. Okay, Abhinav against Shadrach. So there was a rating difference in this one. Yeah, and this should not have been allowed because then White got a very easy attack. Okay, Bhumit's game against Sanay. So looks like a normal position, and then why did White resign? I don't know actually. He can take the queen simply. Okay, that was strange resignation. So it was not because of the blunders we had the results. It was for some strange reasons. I think we had blunders. So right now Abhinav is in the lead. Adway following him closely. So let's watch Adway versus Gino. This is maybe an interesting round to watch. The battle between number 2 and 3. So Gino is white and he played the c3 Sicilian. I don't like the way Adway reacted here. He should have because now Gino can play d5. He didn't play that move. He played e5 instead, and now he's playing d5. So now it's a different story, and he gave up a bishop also. Yeah, now it looks fine for Adway. There are some weak squares, so that was a nice maneuver there. Now, of course, you don't want to trade queens in such situations. Maybe Gino can try and bring his queen to g5. That's one plan. For black, his goal should be to get his bishop out. So something like b5 and bishop b7 can be on black's radar to activate this bishop on this long diagonal. He needs to watch out for the threats with this knight and queen. So he stops queen h3, which I was not sure if it was a threat, but okay, he prevents it for now. But you need to activate as black also because you can't play the position very passively. So you need to play b5 and bishop b7. Now b5 in this position maybe allows queen e4 and attacking the rook. Rook b8. So if I'm Adway, I would try to play the move. The move I want to play is the move d6. I'm not sure if it's good here. I need to calculate it, but that's the move I would want. Also, queen trade is a good thing because if we get into an endgame, the knight on f6 loses its strength. So endgame decision is not bad, but he is allowing a double pawn. I think Gino should go for the endgame because there is no attack, I think. I mean, you can keep the queens on the board by playing queen d4, but endgame looks very pleasant. Like takes, knight d5, and then knight b6 can be a threat sometimes. Rook c1, white has an open file. Endgame also looks like a lot of fun for white. So, okay, he doesn't trade. The question is, can black play this move d6? This move will solve all of his problems if this move works. So the point is if ed6, queen f6, that's the point. Okay, plays d6. That's interesting. Now what to do as white? Okay, he plays knight d5. White has amazing piece activity, so he can create some threats. Thinking of bishop e6, but maybe then knight c7. That is possible. Black's position is very passive, so if white finds some accurate moves, he can have an advantage. Let's maybe watch some other game. But these are the only two games. Let's watch Harshita versus Dhyan. I think we didn't see that one in a while. So Harshita got a very good opening position. Yeah, this looks good for Harshita. Now some knight d5 jump. Okay, Dhyan keeps attacking the queen, so there is no knight d5. Oh, queen queen f5 was a blunder, and then queen c5. The thing is, when you have a worse position, you are trying to find moves to survive. So that's where the blunder happened. Okay, Harshita is winning this one for sure. Uh, we already had a result in the game of Willock. He won against. Let's see who Willock won against Arna. So Arna was white, and they played an end game where Arna is still fine actually. Doesn't look like okay. Here she blundered a pawn. It makes sense to take with the king actually. In an endgame, you can keep your king in the middle, put the pawn on f4, try to get the knight to d6, use some open files. I think Arna is fine in this position, but instead she took back with the knight and blundered the pawn on e5, and now suddenly both pawns are hanging. So king e2 again, you must play. D3 is hanging specifically, and okay, you have to go king e2. You can't blunder knight f2 4. So if you allow some simple things, your opponent is going to find these things. So yeah, king e2 should have been played. Even here, king takes d2, as I said, and white is definitely fine in this position. Pawn down, but some fighting chances. Knight is coming to d6. Rook is coming to g1. The other rook can come to b1. It's possible to hold this. Okay, let's get back to the main game. Let's see Gino and Advai, what they are doing. So Advai has very powerful rooks on the 7th rank. So definite draw at least. But rook d2, and I think black should have easily won position here. At some point, he needs to bring his. I don't know what is he trying to do. If black should be better with double rooks on the 7th rank, but he needed a good plan. Let's see how we got here. He played the move d6, which I said was a critical move. Knight d5, and then Gino traded queens. But Gino traded queens. Okay, maybe there was the move rook takes e6. Okay, but knight e6 is also fine. Yeah, and suddenly black got the second rook active as well. So let's see the live board, what's happening here. Okay, black can trade and win the pawn. And I think black should be doing fantastic in this endgame. You can play rook a3 and then king g5, h5 and start pushing. It was important to stop this move. Now, if he would have put rook on h3, we will have a skewer. So he could have done it other way. I still think black is doing fine in this position because he has two pawns. And white's pawns are not yet, he doesn't have a passed pawn yet. So I think black is doing fine in this position. Now the question is, can white make a draw? He's pawn up, king h5. He needs to get his king around, of course. Needs to get the king to stop the pawns on the g and h file. Yeah, b5, and now trades can happen. Oh, he goes into a pawn endgame. Okay, but pawn endgame can be winning for white actually. White is very fast. We have to calculate this. See, he made that decision so quickly. That was a trick by Gino actually. Now, no, now you're losing. Now just king f3 and then, well, this is definitely losing now. So Advai blundered in the position. That was a nice swindle there by Gino. He went into a pawn endgame and then he just tricked him over there. Okay, maybe for the last round we can watch the below 1000 event. Let's see the game of Aditi against Gatik and Advik against. So Aditi started with a center pawn, good opening. She won a pawn also. She gave up a rook. She could have played king h1 simply. Okay, but that was a piece blunder. So she is ahead in material, but the king on f3 is quite scary, but looks safe for the moment. And now she might have to go king e4 to keep the knight. Okay, she goes there, but now Gatik can take another knight. So the reason we castle is because we want to keep our king safe, and her king is. There was queen h5, but g4 was still safe. Okay, he blundered a queen. Now this will be easy for her to win. She can take the bishop also. Okay, missed it. In the below 1000 level, the important thing to notice is the free pieces. There are so many blunders where pieces are blundered for free, so you need to watch out that. Advait against Janvi, let's watch that. What's happening there? So Advait is white. Okay, decent opening. Nothing much has happened so far. Advik against Aranya, let's watch that one. So Advik with white, and he plays the 4 knights. And he gets a queen. Aranya blunders a queen, so Advik should win this. Yeah, now he'll pick up the rook also. Okay, this is winning for Advik. So in the below 1000, there is a close fight between Abhinav, but who has paused, so he will not get a game most likely. Devain is there on the 3rd place. He is not in a game. Aditi is with 5 points, and she also has a good position against Advik, so she's likely to win this one. Let's go back to the above 1000. Let's see what's happening there. Let's start with Jinu only. Actually, it's just the opening, so nothing much has happened. Gino played the Queen's Gambit decline. Nobody plays Knight c6 in these positions actually. Bishop e7 is a solid way to play. If you want to play c6, you can play the semi-Slav. Knight c6 is very rare because the knight doesn't really do anything on this square. So, and Sanay goes for e4. Bishop b4, but now e5 is possible. Yes, h6 only move. Otherwise, black will lose a piece. Looks like a good position for Sanay here with the space advantage that he has. Let's watch the next game, maybe Advay against Vilok. We can watch this one. So Vilok again played the Karokan exchange variation, and Advay played it in a simple way, and there was a pawn on d4 which was hanging, and he should have taken it actually. Yeah, queen b5 happened, then Vilok blundered. And now it looks good for white. Maybe the other game to watch is Harshita against Shadrach. So Harshita played the Karokan. Again, got a very nice position. The thing I think where Shadrach made a mistake twice is he made mistakes in the pawn structure. Last game also he allowed a double pawn against Abhinav. Here also he has a double pawn. So Harshita not just has a very good position, she is also going to launch an attack very soon. She can start getting her pieces towards the king side, and then the rook might also swing over to g5. This looks very dangerous for white. So Shadrach in a passive situation here. So Harshita having an advantage. And Atharva against Dhyan. Dhyan played e4, e5. And then b5. Oh. Yeah, this is not looking that good for Atharva because he's pieced down and Dhyan is very dangerous when it comes to attack. So Dhyan with a good position. So far what we have is Dhyan in a good position to win against Atharva. Uh, Extra piece and uh, also better structure, better pieces. Harshita is doing good against Shadrak. Advai is winning against Willow and Sanay against Gino. Okay, maybe this is the game we need to watch for some time. Equal endgame. Okay, black just got an open file, but rook a1 can be played in this position. He plays it, of course. And white f5, maybe just not to allow any king activity. I think it's even, but white has some plans like rook a6, b5 can be one plan. Try to create a passed pawn on the king side can be another plan. I don't like c5. What is c5? Just blunders a pawn. No, I don't think that was the good way to play. Now you can even give a check. Actually, he could have given a check on the last move as well. He's trying to activate his king, but looks too slow somehow to me. I think white can start bringing his king up. King g3, f5, f4, and then break open the pawn chain. That looks like a way to go for white. Okay, is Ginu going to try another trick by offering a trade over here? Rook c7, king d4, c6, f5. This is very interesting endgame. Sanay's c pawns look very dangerous. I think Sanay has an advantage, definite advantage. c7 will just freeze the black rook on c8 now, and I think Sanay will play f4 at one moment, and then he will break this pawn chain and he will have an edge passed pawn. So looks good for Sanay. King c4, f4. Okay, king c5. E5 is a move. He goes h4. No, now king g4, and then black has his d pawn running as well, but you can try king f5, right, to set up a mate in one. That's one more trick really, but doesn't work. Okay. Okay, could there be perpetual here? I don't think so, right? You can go king h5 if, because the thing is c8 always is a threat, so you can't escape with your rook. How does white make progress though? That's also a question. Maybe he needs to get his king because the more pawns you trade, okay, even rook g8 check is possible now. But the thing is, yeah, I think maybe it will be a draw then. Because Sanay has to move the rook now, and now d pawn is running. So maybe get your king in to stop that. I don't think you can go into a king and pawn in game. Because takes, no, this is lost. You should never go into a king and pawn in game in such. Or are you in time maybe? Oh, maybe he was in time. Takes, king c5, king d4. Well, that was a quick calculation. Yeah, this was a right decision because you can trade and then play king d6. So he was right actually. Yeah, he was right. But the thing is, how much are you winning by staying in a rook endgame is also a question. Rook g1 may be a trick. Yeah, he's going to try rook c2. King f4. Sane has to be careful. D pawn is very fast. Was there any trick over here when he offered a rook trade? Uh, yeah, there is no trick. King d4, king d6. Okay, this was always a draw. Wait, no, you can't do that. What is that? No, this is just lost. This is completely losing for white. King e4, king e5, game over. The thing that is very strange is, some critical decisions are taken very, very fast, which is not the right thing to do. I mean, this end game, White had an advantage, I think. Yeah, there was rook a6 check, which he should have done, clearly. But what he did was also good. This was all fine for White. Yeah, there was this trick which White could have gone for. The move f4 check and then king f3, putting black in a sort of a zugzwang and now creating an h pawn as a passed pawn. So if you play king e6 now, all the black pawns are stopped and you can start advancing your h pawn. The thing is c7 pawn ties down the rook, so you can distract the rook and push your h pawn. This was a very nice moment in the game actually. f4 check was a very nice way. Takes in king f3 and it's a zugzwang to create a passed pawn. And now, once everything got exchanged, it already looked like a draw. Yeah, and that was a nice decision there by Gino, taking the pawn on c7, taken very quickly because the king and pawn in game was draw. And now, while this is draw, one must understand that this is a race now, the d pawn versus f pawn. So it he played this and just losing. King f5 is the only way to make a draw. Again, very tough to spot these things. Rook e2 and then rook g7. And then you can go behind a pawn. The thing is, for you to make a draw by giving up a rook, your pawn needs to be like f7, f6, somewhere there. You cannot sacrifice your rook with a pawn on the third rank. That's just not in time. So that's where the mistake happened. So in the above 1000, I think we already have a winner, if I'm not wrong. Ginu won with... although he had some difficult positions, but still he survived many of them. Against Adwai he was worse, against Sane also he was worse, but that's the important thing. The fighting spirit is important. He kept fighting and he ultimately won the game. So while Adwai and Sane, they left some points on the table. They could have won against Gino. So yeah, that's the end of the above 1000. Ended actually 10 minutes earlier than the expected time. So below 1000 is still going on. Abhinav is back and he's still playing game. He's playing with Aditi now. Advik on 7 points. Okay, 2 games still in progress in this one. Let's see what's happening there. Dhyan is playing against Abhinav and he's... No, I mean Atharva and he's much better. So Dhyan looks like in a good position. And Harshita's game we had already seen. She was better. And she's still better in this end game. She has an extra piece. So this also looks good for Harshita. So let's watch below 1000 for last 10 minutes. Let's see what's happening in Devin against Aranya and Abhinav against Aditi. And also Advait against Janvi. Let's open all 4 games. And Gatik also against Arnavi. So Devin against Aranya. Devin tried doing a 4-move checkmate, which is not a good thing. But... And yeah, let's see what's the final position now like. Aranya has a very easy game. But she is blundering pieces. I saw it in the last game also. She is blundering pieces. So maybe Devin will get a chance in this one. Yeah, white has a lot of pieces. Of course, queen is a queen. You cannot fight against a queen. But there is a fork over here. So I think Devin is going to win a lot of pieces. Now that's another rook. I don't know what's happening. Too many pieces are blundered in this one. So Aranya had a good position, but now she started blundering pieces. Then we have a game of Abhinav against Aditi. Let's see what's going on there. So yeah, Aditi has a decent opening position, as does like Abhinav also. He offers a queen trade. Maybe threatening e5 also. Oh, that's a blunder because you can just take it. Yeah, okay, she blunders. So you should never trade queens after you have lost a piece. So Abhinav will win this most likely. Advait against Janvi. Let's see what's happening there. We saw the opening. The opening was fine. Oh no. This is the blunder we already saw the second time. The knight is pinned, but still he moved it and then he lost his queen. So Janvi in a good position to win this one. Let's see how she's winning this one. Knight c2. I'm seeing in many games that winning positions are not won. So the side that is winning. Okay, knight e7 was a blunder. Yeah, Janvi is still winning because she has an extra queen. She did blunder a few pieces, but still she has an extra queen. So Janvi should win this one if she doesn't blunder any tactics. Advait's position is very solid. Okay, he resigns. He should fight. You should play rook e1 and hope that Janvi will blunder something. You should never resign. Okay, maybe last game, Gatik's game against Arnavi. Let's watch that. So long castling is always risky. I suggest all the new students to castle short side. Short side is always safer. We have a result here already. You should always castle short side. Long side is only done if you are going to get an attack immediately. Gatik had a very good position. Then he started making some mistakes. In the below 1000 level, all you have to pay attention to is winning material. Like your opponent is giving you material at each turn. Like for example, here after e5, all Gatik had to do was just to take this pawn. So when you win material, it also helps you in the attack. So e5 was a mistake, and then Gatik still has a fine position. Free rooks are not taken. So Gatik needs to watch out. These are the big mistakes. Okay, these are the big mistakes which should be punished. Yeah, and then black started playing well over here. She found a discover attack and she even won the rook. So, okay, this is where black started taking over. You can take the rook because it's protected by another rook. So, Gatik had a very good position, but he did never attacked. He was just moving behind the pawns, and that's why he couldn't win the game. In chess, if you attack, the possibilities of you winning are more than if you play passive or slow chess. So especially at the beginner level, attack is rewarded because defense is not that well put. So attackers usually have advantage. So below 1000 students should try to attack, and one step of attacking is just taking free pieces of the opponent. Like if they are giving you free pieces, you should take them so that anything that you do will be with more effect. Attack that you will do will be more effective. Defense, if you have to put, that also will be more effective. So that's the thing many people need to watch out, and that's the thing that Abhinav or Advik or even Aditi, they are doing good. That's why they are winning the below 1000 tournaments. So yeah, those are some of the things to pay attention to. I think in the above 1000 we already have a result. That's already finished. Genus has won the tournament, so congratulations to the winners in the above 1000. Below 1000 will also end very soon. Most likely Abhinav is going to win that one. Although not clear yet. Black has double rooks and knight is defended. But Abhinav should win this one, I think. So he has no problems. The tournament will end in 20 seconds as well. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.